And in Asia, Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index, which closed earlier today with the eve of the Lunar New Year holidays, edged up 0.21%. In Japan, the Nikkei 225 advanced 0.46%, while the Topix rose 1.07% to finish its trading day at 1,581.33. Shares of tech giant Sony closed down 0.07% after the company cut its sales and operating revenue forecast for the fiscal year. The ASX 200 in Australia gained 0.48%, with the sectors mostly higher. Stock markets in China and South Korea are closed today owing to the holidays. And U.S. stock index futures were slightly higher as market participants await another batch of quarterly corporate results. The moves in pre-market trade come after a surge in optimism on Wall Street at the end of last week. The U.S. Labor Department report on Friday showed non-farm payrolls jumped by 304,000 last month, the largest gain since February 2018. The jobs report, along with better than expected manufacturing figures, pointed to underlying strength in the world's largest economy. On the data front, investors are likely to monitor factory orders for November at around 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Away from the equities market there and back here on the African continent, Eurobonds from sub-Saharan Africa is seen performing better this year, even though debt levels in some parts of the region are ballooning as diminishing prospects for further U.S. interest rate hikes support demand. Economic analysts such as Samuel Gadio, head of Africa strategy at Standard Chartered, believe it will be a better year than last, but opinion was split on which country will dominate the overall improvement. The U.S. Federal Reserve on Wednesday last week signaled its three-year drive to tighten monetary policy may be at an end amid a suddenly cloudy outlook for the U.S. economy, an announcement that could support investor interest in Africa's debt market. Nigeria's 30-year $460 million Eurobond issued in November as part of a $750 million fundraising currently yields a healthy 8.169%. In a positive sign for the region, investment bank JP Morgan raised its exposure to emerging market local bonds and currencies after the Fed shifted to a more dovish stance. And the entire board members of South Africa's state-owned pension fund, the Public Investment Corporation, have resigned, citing instability at the firm following graft allegations against at least 4 directors. The Public Investment Corporation, which has around 2 trillion rand of civil servant pensions under management, is facing a judicial inquiry into corporate governance after an opposition party alleged that former Chief Executive Dan Matela had misused funds and made careless investment decisions. The allegations against Matela, a board member, were followed by a whistleblower who made new graft allegations at the pension fund in an email implicating 3 other board members, including acting CEO Matse Moore, as well as the board's chairman and Deputy Finance Minister Mondli Gombele, in impropriety. The board said the allegations were unbearable to them as individuals in a letter addressed to Finance Minister Tito Mboweni, asking him to release them from their positions. And the African Development Bank and the Economic Commission of West African States have signed a grant retrocession agreement for the Abidjan-Lagos Corridor Highway Development Program. The aim of the Abidjan and Lagos Corridor, which will run through Accra, Lomé, and Cotonou, is to enhance inter-regional trade. The agreement will cover all the needed technical studies for the effective implementation, operation, and economic development of a 6-lane highway corridor between the cities. The AfDB is investing heavily in high-quality regional transport infrastructure throughout the continent to promote integration. And here in Nigeria, the economic and recovery growth plan for the country is mostly tied to infrastructure development. The Minister of Power, Works and Housing, Mr. Babatunde Fashola, outlined some of the ongoing plans by the government to develop infrastructure. Mr. Fashola was speaking on our morning program, Business Morning.
There's a distribution expansion program coming up, which we will take to council soon to help us evacuate the 2,000 megawatts that we really can't get to the last mile. That is government's investment in power as a 40% shareholder in the distribution companies. Added to that is the meter asset provider regulations that we have made. We have now licensed 108 different companies to supply and install meters. They are going through process in readiness to deploy meters. This is different from the meter supply contract that was awarded in the previous administration in 2003 for 20-something billion naira that ended up in court. And this is part of our own creative way of creating jobs. So meter supply, meter installation is work coming down the line. Just last week, you might recall that my ministry also announced the launch of a national infrastructure maintenance program. This is a targeted program to solve the problem of maintenance, not only in providing full value for assets, infrastructure when they are built, but also in creating jobs down the line. The built industry, only about 30% are employed by design, construction, and governance. 77% of those who work in the built environment gain their employment for maintenance and operation. This is the first time a government is committing to maintenance from our own buildings. So we're going to start maintenance of prisons, of schools, of hospitals, of courtrooms, our own secretariats, to employ plumbers, artisans, welders, landscapers, masons. You see, you can't have a broken window, you can't have a leaking pipe, and then a plumber has no job. This government is connecting those pieces together. As far as the ERGP is concerned, the critical objectives are first to drive growth in the economy, to invest in the Nigerian people, and to create a globally competitive economy. Infrastructure is one of the many items, 50 items of commitment, and they do not end in my ministry. They also extend to the Ministry of Transportation to improve the quality and service levels at our ports, at our airports, and on the rail. And as you know, the Lagos-Kano rail project has already started. All of the critical roads in Lagos, like the Apapa-Urushoki road, have now been awarded. Lagos-Ota road has been awarded. Work is going on there. The Ikorodu to Shagamu road has been. So all of these are freeing up road arteries that have been congested for almost 2 decades. And so we won't finish that overnight. They are going to be built man hour after man hour. So people can now see that all of the problems that have held back this economy, that have not allowed it to grow inclusively, are now being tackled. Yes, we used to have growth before, but it was always reported that it was non-inclusive growth.
Tunde Fashola, Minister of Power Works and Housing. More to come on Business Incorporated after the break. Stay with us.